Andrew Wilson, as you remember from my introduction before, is the man who built the web pages that you're enjoying today with his bare hands. He studied geography and regional planning at Miami University and later obtained his MPA, his Master of Public Administration at Kent State. And if you happen to have dogs, gin, and maybe some gypsy jazz, Andrew will probably want to add you to his friends list. We're going to hear from Andrew now on a story map he developed using ArcGIS Online to showcase the recreational trails in Oxford. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Just so everybody knows, I'm not a natural public speaker, so I apologize if I sound a little nervous, because I am. I'm going to do a little demonstration today. Hopefully you can all see my screen now, of the Oxford Area Trails map, StoryMap rather. A StoryMap is an online interactive mixed media platform where you can pull together text and maps, pictures, video, and audio to create a story or a narrative. In the case of the Oxford Area Trails, we wanted to map that out for the public. And when I was looking at the different options, this the ArcGIS StoryMap seemed to be the best option for us for what we were looking for. We wanted to showcase the trail. We currently have about 4 miles completed. When it is completed, probably in about 12 to 15 years, it will encircle the city of Oxford. Parts of it are on the Miami University campus. It's a mixture of asphalt and crushed stone paths. A story map in this context is conversational and relaxed, so not as formal as some of the other mapping options that are available. We wanted this story map to be simple and easy to use as well. So here it is. So this presentation today is going to be a demonstration of what our story map looks like for the Oxford Area Trails, as well as editing and theming the different options that you get with ArcGIS story maps. So here at the top we have this image of some cyclists, and looks like somebody on a cell phone back there. Down below we have a navigation menu. We decided to have a map, and then trailheads, an about section, contact, and how to make a donation to support the trails. So the map is an ArcGIS Online embedded map. We'll get into some of the details with that here in the next few minutes. But we do have some lines representing the different sections of the trail, and we have some points of interest along the trail as well. Down below, we have the trailheads. This is what's called a map tour section of the story map. And this is kind of cool because it allows you to throw in a picture with some text over on the left and then show a point of interest on the map on the right. And as you're scrolling down the page and you go from one map to another, it animates and moves. We'll get into how that works behind the scenes here in a few minutes. So these are the trailheads are important for us because these are where we have parking. We have some restrooms at one of our trailheads, tables, picnic tables, things like that. So, and addresses. Oh, perfect. It's very important for us to have those addresses because we have visitors coming from out of town. If you tell them to go to the Leonard Howe Park trailhead, they may not find that through the different navigation services, but we throw in the address to make it a little easier. So down beneath our map tour, we just have a mixed section of an image with the history of the Oats Trail, and then some contact information and how to donate. So let's move on over to behind the scenes here. So if you're going to create a story map, you just log into your ArcGIS Online portal. Actually, ArcGIS Online. I should clarify that this is ArcGIS Online and not Portal, but you can do story maps through Portal, as far as I'm aware. And if anybody has any questions, just feel free to poke in here too. We will have questions at the end though. So you just go to ArcGIS Online, click Create, and then click Story Maps. And this is how you can start building out your story. I'm just going to go ahead and go on over here to the editing screen for ours. So up here at the top, you can modify your image, your title, your subtitle. You get some options here for your story navigation. You can turn things on in the navigation. Actually, I should back up here. Up here at the top, we have the title, we have the published status. If you're making edits, it will tell you that things are saved or not saved. Up here at the top, you have the design button, which is going to give you some options for what your cover could look like. And as you click on these, you can just see what the different options look like. I'm going to go back here to this one. You can turn on or off the navigation. You can turn on credits. You can pick a theme. We'll get more into theming here a little later, and you can apply a logo and a logo link. All right. Oh, this is a really cool feature of ArcGIS Online StoryMaps, this preview functionality. You can preview on multiple devices to see what your application will look like. This is very helpful for when you're putting things together to make sure that your images are the right size, that your maps are at the right extents. You can get an idea of what the text is going to look like. You can preview on a tablet, a mobile device, or a computer, desktop. And you can preview full screen here. Let's go back here. Under this publishing menu, you get some sharing options. You can share, you can set it to private, your organization, or everyone. You can also do group sharing. And under the ellipsis, or the 3 dots, you get an embed option. So I would say be careful with this embed option, because I found in my experience that embedding the iframe breaks functionality on iPhones. Didn't seem to be as bad on the Android phones that I tested. So I would just say test that before you launch that to the public, just to make sure that that works properly. Under the story settings, you can add a Google Analytics tracking ID. We're not tracking usage on this quite yet. This is still a relatively new thing for us. We just launched this a couple months ago, and we still have some more changes we want to make to it before we do a lot of advertising of this new service. The help. Esri's done a great job with this help menu. I'm really impressed with the what's new page. This is very conversational and easy to read. I wish that ESRI Help in general was more like this. They're constantly making improvements to the platform and being fairly honest about the limitations of the different functions. So I encourage you to keep up with this, and they will email you the updates as well if you're subscribed. So if you want to get more techie in it, you can read the release notes, which are much more ESRI-like, what we're used to. Let's see, let's go back here. All right, so let's get into the different elements down below the navigation. So from here, you can add basic text, a button, and as you hover over these, you're going to see more information there. It's really going to help you know what those things are. This is very easy to use. So I would say start building and build your story organically. You know, as it comes to you, build it out. You can always go back and change things. This is very easy to manipulate. Down below the basic functions, you get map, image, video, audio, and embed, as well as swipe, which I think is relatively new because I don't remember seeing this out there this past summer. And then they give you more what they're calling immersive elements. So a slideshow, a sidecar. This is really cool. This is where you can have text on one side and a nice big map on the right. And then the map tour, which is how we did the trailheads and the functionality here. So as far as theming goes, I'm gonna go up here. With theming, you get a style guide. So this is gonna show you what the changes will look like as you modify things over on the left. So the different options that you get with theming are colors, typography, buttons, quotes, separators, and logo. And if you just click on this, you can easily change what things will, the way that the colors will look on the page. So I found this to be easy, but also sometimes the style guide doesn't update immediately. So I found that to be a little finicky when I was going through all of this. As far as the typography goes, you're really limited in the different fonts that are available right now. I'm really hoping that ESRI adds a lot more. So it's just hard to make this match with our other web services right now. But I'm hopeful with the changes that they've been making lately that we will get more font options here. So you get lots of customization on the way things look with colors and accents, separators, things like that. And you can also add a logo. And by the way, these themes are reusable throughout other story maps. So if you're building multiple ones for a project, like a comprehensive plan update, you can keep the theme consistent across the platforms, or across the maps rather. Some pros to ArcGIS story maps, I would say it's very easy to use. Anybody can get in here and create something. I would encourage you to get non-GIS people in here and give them a shot at building something. I found that when executing this story map on devices and in browsers, that it's always been consistently fast. It's never let me down, it hasn't let me down yet. I really enjoy the modern design of this. I'm really impressed at how you can pull together the different types of elements and maps to build a story and build a narrative for your project. It's just for me, it's a natural evolution of GIS for now and the future. I think it's complementing to your GIS workflows as well, where you may have people who are working out in the field collecting data in ArcGIS Collector, where their work automatically can appear on a story map as something's unfolding. It's really easy to make changes as well. Building out the story will change as you're working on it, and this just is super easy to manipulate. Don't worry about perfection with this because it's so easy to make changes. And ArcGIS Online is constantly improving these days. And this is expandable. You can keep building your story as it goes on and changes. Some cons, I've struggled with some of the symbology with, well, not really the symbology, but with the trail line labels. This may be remedied, but we may be able to remedy this, but I haven't explored it too hard yet. And then I've had trouble with making changes to the theme and the theme changes being saved and published. There's also a lag sometimes with story maps where you'll make a change to something and it may take 20 seconds for it to be live for what the public's seeing. So not a big con usually, but if somebody's barking at you to get something done right now, just know that it may take a few seconds longer than when you hit save. One thing that I find a little bizarre with the map tour is if you have points of interest on your map, you can't click on those. So that's a little bit of a usability issue to me, because when I was looking at this, I was like, oh, I want to click on that bird, but you can't really click there. You can click on the map, obviously, but not the map tour. Some tips I would have for this, for using story maps is, who is your audience? Really find out what your audience needs are. Know your audience. Here in Oxford, we have a 95% plus smartphone usage rate from data that has been acquired from various sources. So we know that a lot of people are accessing our services, our web services on smartphone devices. But if you're in a community where you don't have a lot of bandwidth or smartphone usage, you may want to limit your story map a little bit more with the images or videos. I would say think beyond your role as a GIS professional. Bring non-GIS people in to your story mapping. Find out what they want and what they need, because there are just so many different perspectives that aren't heard today that need to be heard. Keep telling your story. Learn how to make videos. In 2020 and beyond, videos are going to become more important. Use the technology you have. If you have an Android device or a smartphone, use that to record a video. You don't have to spend a lot of money on this. People are forgiving about video quality, but audio quality is very important. So take that into account when you're building these out. You don't want to have a lot of annoying sounds. So the next step with our story map is going to be video and audio from the different points of interest throughout our recreational trails. So I think that I've covered just about everything that I wanted to. Do we have any questions?
Hey Andrew, it's Megan.
Hey Megan. Sorry, I can't see the story or the chat at this point. So.
Oh, that's fine. I was wondering, can you insert dashboards into story maps?
Oh. You know, you can embed. I don't know, Megan. That would be something that we would have to, because the dashboard is the app, right? Where you have the map inside. You may be able to do that through embedding, but that would be something that I'd have to look into.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jen says, Andrew, when you're collaborating with a person who does not have a lot of experience with GIS, do you go to them with a blank slate and see what they have in mind, or do you show them examples of what story maps can do and see how they would like to use it?
I would say both. So I approached one of our interns working for the assistance had approached me asking about this, and this was something that was already on my agenda to do anyway. And I just asked her for her ideas and what she wanted to see. And then she also had some ideas of other maps that she had seen elsewhere outside of Oxford. So I was able to pull in the ideas that she had. And also, I would say, when I kind of put her on the spot, I asked her questions, but then she wasn't quite ready to answer, and that's okay, you know. Always give people time, because sometimes people don't know what they want. I mean, most of the time, a lot of time people don't know what they want. So yeah, just be open to acquiring that information.
And I have a question. How did you find the experience with the new StoryMap Builder versus the old StoryMap Builder? Pros and cons between the two?
I just started using the StoryMap Builder this summer, so this is pretty much what I've been used to. I'm not sure that I saw the old one. Can anybody speak to that, or want to speak to that? Did you use it, Kelly?
Yeah, I've used the old one, and it was for Cascade. I didn't have too much experience with the other templates, but it was buggy. I had some trouble, like once images were embedded, I could not get rid of them, and they would not show up where they were supposed to. And then apparently I've read in GeoNet that you can't upgrade a story map made from the old version into the new version. You actually have to recreate the entire map from scratch. Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't have very many in the old one, and they will continue to support it, but no new development will take place. Have you tried Experience Builder yet?
I have not. Tell me about that.
I haven't. So what Megan and I were chatting in an aside was, we're wondering if that in-map functionality of being able to click on those points might be something that's supported in Experience Builder, but not necessarily in the StoryMap, because that would be a really handy, or that would be like an essential function, I think, to be able to interact with the map that you have in the background there. Yeah,
I think when I talked about clicking on the points, that was more important for web browsing, like on the desktop or on a laptop. I noticed that usability wise on the smartphone, I didn't want to click on those points as much, because I wanted to click on the actual map to get interest. So.
And do you have any plans for 3D in the future to make this into a 3D map?
I have actually been thinking about that lately. The city has a drone, and I've been playing around with the LiDAR sensor on my new iPhone, seeing what that could do for us. I've mainly been playing around with that on the inside of buildings, but I have been thinking about these trails and trying to give people an idea of the three-dimensional aspect of them, because we do have some grade change in some of these areas.
I've seen some applications that are used for people who cycle or do a lot of trail hiking, and it measures intensity. So basically it's another measurement of slope. And we did have a comment from Rick Stam that says I apologize if I spelled or pronounced your name incorrectly. City of Cincinnati's DOTE is coordinating with E911 to place mile markers along walking and bike trails to help first responders locate those in need along the trails. Is OAT working with Oxford E911 to incorporate the mile markers into their GIS?
I have not heard that we are, but that is an excellent idea.
I agree. I know that was the case along the Great Miami Trail, at least along Hamilton Township, because we did some work for Hamilton Township, and they do have mile markers to help first responders have a better idea of where to go help people.
Right now we have just under 4 miles completed, but yeah, that would be. Ooh, that makes me a little excited. So to hear that. So I really appreciate that, Rick. Thank you.
And Andrew has shared the link to the story map in the chat. And my last question for you, Andrew, is why did you not enter this in the interactive story map competition for the gallery?
It felt weird, you know, because I've been putting together, I've been helping with getting this event together. So I was like, oh, do I put this in or do I not? Because I also have a couple other interactive maps. We have the interactive zoning map here, which is pretty cool. Our printed zoning map, I think, is really nice. But because I was one of the lead people here, I just didn't feel like that was appropriate. So, but thanks, I appreciate that. That I feel like that's a compliment. So thank you.
It absolutely is. Do we have any other questions from our chat window? Anybody else want to ask any questions live or?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, I'm not able to put anything into the chat box. It's telling me I'm not part of the chat. So I'm just going to ask the question. Are the story maps, when you're on a mobile device, are those navigable? Like, are you able to see where you are on the map? Does it show your GPS coordinates?
It depends on how you set up the map. So yeah, for us, it is navigable. Now, navigable in the sense that you can see where you are on the map. We don't have the capabilities right now to offer true navigation, like get from this point to this point and how to do that. But you can see where you are on the map.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And actually, that's a good thing to mention to everybody, that if you are doing a trail map, it will be very helpful for people to know where they are, because if you're in a 1 mile stretch between points of interest that are already mapped out and you're very tired, my friend, she had back surgery, and one of the things that they told her in recovery was to get out and get exercise. So she would go on hikes because it was good for her back, and there were times when she would have no idea where she was. So yeah, thanks.
That's good advice.